One. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got my Southern Belle, my lady from Memphis, my good friend Michelle Sammons, who is an inspirational author, spiritual teacher, and highly attuned guide who works with clients worldwide, helping them transform their lives through divine guidance. As an empath and intuitive, Michelle's lighthearted, joyful approach embraces her clients right where they are on the spiritual path and gently guides them to personal clarity and understanding. So if you're ready to find your purpose, if you have a yearning for a life that feels alive and meaningful, and you want your spiritual path to feel lighthearted and fun, then you're going to really enjoy our conversation here with my good friend, Michelle. And she also has a book, which I'm going to have a giveaway at the end. So you have to listen to the end. It's a little book of big knowing. So Michelle, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
That's a great question. Green, because It just reminds me of the freshness of nature. Really.
Yes. And as coaches and whatnot, it's always a rebirth, for us, with people getting that green, it's just a rebirth of stuff. So Michelle, let's get into your roots. You cover a lot for being divine guidance, empath, intuitive. So let's get to the roots of Michelle.
Yeah, so I'm Michelle Sammons, and I live in Memphis, Tennessee, in the heart of the United States. And what I am mostly, to boil it down, is an intuitive, which just means I use my senses that we all have. It comes with the human package, and I've just refined those skills so that way I can read someone's energy signature and just kind of help them understand what things are going on in their life beyond what they might be able to understand with their rational, analytical mind.
Love it. I love it. And what put you on that path?
Well, that's a great question. I started out in traditional coaching, and I had a lovely practice. I had lovely clients. We discussed lots of things from career problems to family life, but I just felt like I wasn't going quite deep enough for my own personal satisfaction. We kept going into deeper meanings of why things were happening and about their own journeys and what this was leading for and what was kind of unfolding for them. So it was just kind of a natural transition from one more mainstream traditional coaching to a little bit more expanded version of that.
I love it. So what do you think then makes a great coach?
Ooh, you have to be a good listener. That is the number one key, because and that also helps develop your intuition and your awareness. When you really listen to someone and you give them space to be seen and heard just as they are, without even having to fix or give advice or suggest, it brings healing on its own, just to have someone be heard. And that's what a lot is going on in our society today, right? People are wanting to be heard. They're wanting to be seen as they are. And everyone can give that gift to each other if you just take time and pause and really tune in and pay attention to the person in front of you. It's just a huge blessing to them and to you.
Wow, take time and pause, which, I really believe my exercise for it and for my clients that I coach is really through breathing. Okay, breathing exercises, whether it's tactical breathing that I learned in the military or even box breathing. What exercises do you get your clients to do maybe at a start of a session to get them really leveled up to raise their game?
Yeah, well, that's funny that you start with breathing, because that's one of the things I ask my clients also to do, is to just take a breath. Because when we take a breath and we refocus on that natural thing that we take for granted so much, it brings you back into the present moment, right? So It brings you right into the here and now. And it helps to, for my clients, especially if someone's new and they might be a little nervous or anxious, it just helps calm that central nervous system down.
Right.
So that way they can hear and receive without having all the stuff that's getting in the way.
I love that you said that. Breathing is the best medicine, period. It's free medicine, right? And it really can get you centered and ready to become a sponge to be able to level up in whatever aspect that they're looking to level up into. So do you coach a lot of people one-on-one then?
I do. I work with groups, and then I also work with private clients in sessions. Yeah, I sure do.
Okay, so when someone comes to you, as say we'll stick with a private client, someone comes to you Is there any secret sauce that you could share to make them help them, or not make them, to help them find their blind spot?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, it's always easier for someone else to see our blind spot, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So, yeah, we all see each other's. And what coaching or like my intuitive sessions do is it just helps kind of put a spotlight on it, if you will. So sometimes when you can't see it yourselves, you just need someone to reflect it back to you. And
Wow.
once they're aware of something, then it's easy to spot it the next time it comes up. So, and oftentimes we just need to be made aware of it initially, and then we begin to notice it on our own when we're doing it ourselves.
I love that, because as coaches, we're not so much consultants, unless you're a coach sultant, but I'm a coach. Like, I'm not a consultant unless it has to do with real estate. I'm not going to tell one of my Fortune 100 clients, consult them. But as a coach, we can ask those powerful questions, listen intuitively, right? And then they help almost come up with it on their own, so they feel great about themselves, correct?
Right. Because that's what you want to do, is empower someone and give
Yes.
them tools and skills that they can do it and use it in their own life, in their daily life.
Yes.
Because if you're not empowering someone to live their best life, then you're not really helping them.
Right. You're
So
almost
eventually,
you're almost sinning. And I don't mean that in a religious standpoint. Sin is just a Greek word for missing the mark. So they're
Right.
not taking that to the level that they're able to, correct?
yes, because eventually you want them not to need you, right?
Right.
You
I
want
wanna
them
be
to
fired.
know that they can do it themselves. Right. You're working yourself out of a job.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what I like to do, is empower folks to go forward and use the skills that they've learned and use the information that they've learned,
Love
and
it.
then apply it themselves.
Love that. Love this. So transparent. Thank you. So let's stay with that first discovery conversation with a prospective client. Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Well, now an intuitive session starts a little differently.
Mhm.
So what I like to do is dive into the energy and see what's presenting itself
Mm,
initially. Like,
okay.
let's see what we're really grappling with today.
Working with,
Because
right?
sometimes they, and I ease their mind a lot, because they'll come with questions and I'm like,
Mhm.
we'll get to all those and we'll address them all. But initially, let's see where your energy wants to start, like that
Yes.
deeper, bigger part of you. And
Love that.
so that's where we'll start, and then we'll go from there. Oftentimes, that's where it'll go on its own. So we'll continue that path and then circle back to their things if we need to.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So what do you feel that your strengths are?
When you say strengths, do you mean with a client, or do you mean
With yourself?
Well, so I'm a good listener.
Mhm.
What I do a lot is some people will call it holding space. I don't consider it holding space.
Mhm.
What it is you're setting kind of a frequency or a vibration. Some people would call it a presence if you're
Mhm.
just in mainstream America. And so I'm allowing my client to meet me in that space,
Right.
to hold that same vibration. And a lot of times that's a calm, serene place to be. And when they meet me there and they let go of their anxiety or their worry or they're wanting to fix their problems, then resolutions and solutions just kind of bubble up naturally. Makes it
Okay.
easier to see what was kind of there obviously anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're really putting I want to say maybe lack of a better term, an atmosphere, a setting for them is a strength of yours to make them feel comfortable to be able to go to that level. Like, nail that, or is it?
Yeah, so I definitely make someone feel comfortable, if that
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
what I was asking for, your strengths, because that's what
Yeah,
the people that we want to have you talk to, they want to know those.
yeah. Well, so if they want to know my strengths, it's the intuitive skills.
Yes,
That's exactly what everyone has. So when you talk about intuition, people get a little kind of like, oh my gosh, what is that? Well, we all have it. It's part of the
all
human
of us,
package.
right?
And so it's what, like a stockbroker would call, he gets a hunch, right?
Yes.
Or a mom will know that something's wrong with their child, and it's kind of mother's intuition. Or when people talk about following their heart or
Right.
gut instinct, it's all those things, and we all have it. What I've done is refine that skill so that I can also help other people
Yes.
know what's going on in their lives.
I love
So,
that. And what extent do you appreciate your strengths?
oh gosh, well, it's something you always take for granted, right? Until someone reflects back to you, oh, how do you do this? Or how do you sense these things? And they start to ask particular questions and you
Sure.
realize, oh, I've developed something that maybe not everyone has the curiosity or wonder to develop, right?
Right.
So that's usually when I start to reflect on it. But otherwise, I just do my thing and try to help as many people as possible.
Let's go the other way. What extent do you appreciate your limitations?
Well, as an intuitive, you definitely have to appreciate your limitations because you have to know when you've got to tell your client that you don't see something for them.
There you
So
go.
honesty
Honesty and transparency. Thank you. And
yes.
clapping. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
well, we're human, right? And
Right.
so as neutral as I try to be with this session with my client, because when I'm out of judgment and I'm out of my own, try to be as much as possible out of my own personal paradigms, then I
Right.
can clearly see energy and I can clearly see my client. But we all, no matter how neutral I try to be, we all have stuff sometimes that gets in the way. And you
Yes.
own that. And you've got
Yes.
to own your own triggers and things that happen like that. And then
Sounds like taking responsibility there.
of course, yes, yes.
So what's your definition of responsibility then?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I haven't ever really thought about it. Well, when I think about responsibility to my client, it's being number one, it's doing a good job. So it's being present, it's being aware, it's being
Love it.
completely with them. It's reading their energy as cleanly as I can.
Mm.
It's also telling them when something doesn't appear to be coming forth.
Right.
It's all those things. So my responsibility to my client is just to do the best I can
I love it.
within what I have, what the gifts I have to work with.
I love it. So, I was taught this a long time ago by my mentor and coach is that, the responsibility is the ability to respond. And it's rooted right in the word. And so I want to ask you this then, how do you respond to people that kind of come into one of your sessions and are thinking, some of this just seems like foo-foo or fa-fa, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they'll say, okay, an intuitive and empath, and they've been referred to you. I see an empath right now. Okay, I believe in this stuff, but other people might not. How do you respond to that when you first start talking to them? Maybe get them on the path of believing in your process.
Well, what I've noticed is someone who has a few doubts or they're a little skeptical. It's interesting when someone is like that, I'll notice that the information I receive will have some kind of, I like to call it candy, because usually it's not necessarily at the heart of the matter, but it's like something that'll grab their attention. So a name or a phrase that they've been reading about or thinking about, or I'll get something that is a very physical thing within their life now that just grabs their attention and it startles them.
That is beautiful. That
answer knows something.
Excellent.
And then once I have their attention, then we can do the deeper, meaningful work.
Yes.
Your soul's journey and what they're
beautiful. You responded perfectly. That's beautiful. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Oh gosh, a long time ago.
It's been a bit, right? So I can't believe it's 36 years old, the movie, but
you're dating all of us.
I know, right? So let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 22-year-old Michelle. What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on her to maybe help her level up, shorten her learning curve, and blast through maybe just a little bit quicker?
Oh gosh. To not think that she has to have a plan. So a lot of us, we're in this analytical linear world, and we really want to hold on to a plan. We want to know where our life is going, and we want to know what we're doing. And we want the straightest shot there, right? We want to go from point A to point B. And what I've learned over the years is that intuitive living is more about being in the present moment. Like we talked earlier, responding to what's going on in front of us and listening deeply for the next step.
Yes.
So sometimes, your path will be more zigzaggy, or it'll be circle, or it'll be, a little bit of a wandering path. And
Yes.
that's where some of the great goodness and juiciness of life is.
Yes.
It's always going the fastest way possible.
That journey's in the good memories are in the zigzags. That's I'm going to tell you right now, because so many people stand with a foot in the future and a foot in the past, and they pee on the present. They're not there enjoying that moment of just the things that you just come in the memories. Because you and I talking right now are memories for tomorrow, and I've leveled up my day, and that's beautiful. So how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and your death date on your tombstone. How do you want Michelle's dash remembered?
I love that question. Never had that dash. That's a great question. There's a couple of things that I would like to say about that. Number one, the immediate answer that comes is I think we all contribute something to the world, and that's part of why we're here. And one thing I'd like to contribute is just more love, because that just makes everything better. The Beatles got that right. All you need is love.
Yes, they did.
And then, and the other thing I would like to contribute is it's okay to shine your own light. So it's okay to be exactly who you are, despite culture, despite, what you've been taught with your family or your religion or your community. Be you. And when you do that, then you teach someone else that it's okay to be them.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
Yes.
And that's all we're really trying to do, is just be who we are and allow ourselves to express that in the best way possible.
Yes. Authentic is key. So I love that answer. So what do you think people misunderstand the most about Michelle?
Ooh. Well, I think sometimes your clients think that you have it all figured out. But I also have my own soul's journey, right?
Oh, I got it
and
too,
I'm
honey.
still growing and evolving. And so I still have my blind spots. And as you work on yourself and you become more aware, those things, you get deeper and deeper with your learnings, right? So you kind of cut away the surface stuff, and then get the lessons that you learn are even more profound.
They are.
Right.
Love that.
But we're all doing that. I mean, that doesn't stop. No matter whether you help others, whether you do it for yourself, whether you're just, a mom or a dad, having a family life, trying to keep it all together and right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a constant thing for everybody.
Yes, absolutely agree. So what if anything keeps Michelle up at night?
Oh, well, from a person who used to be what I would call a worrywart, who worried about everything for the longest time. I have done my work around that, and so I let most of it go. And the Dalai Lama, he has a great practice that he lets everything die before he goes to sleep at night. So he lets the day die, the experience.
That's where your color green comes in, honey. It has the rebirth.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that.
Wake up fresh every morning.
Every day, right? It took me a minute and a couple of coaches to get me there with that, because I would be like, oh, can I grow? How can I? It was like, wait a minute, dude, how can you just let things be, give it to God or whoever your creator is, and just go to bed? And now I do that, So what are 3 things? Let's take our computer out of the equation, your cell phone, anything digital. What are 3 things that Michelle can't live without?
Oh, that's easy. My husband, my dog.
You better say that.
And probably my next breath, right?
Yes, true. Yeah.
No, so family and loved ones are extremely important.
Absolutely.
So they're a part of my journey, and those are the things.
No chicken wings or anything like that?
Oh, no, I love a donut, but I could probably live without it.
Me too. I love that. I love that. So what is Michelle's definition of a life well lived?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What's your definition of a life well lived?
Oh, a life well lived. How much you're enjoying it. So you're here for your own personal experience and your own personal process. And if you're not loving your life, if you're not enjoying the majority of your life, then something's missing. The mark, you're missing the mark on that. And it's time to adjust.
It's a sin. You know, so I tell me my clients are like, oh man, are we going religious? I'm like, no, dude. Sin comes from the Greek word sine, which means missing the mark.
Right.
Which I love that. You just said that again, missing the mark. In squad, we are going to take my good, beautiful, awesome sauce friend, Michelle Salmons, through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to shine today, podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and we got my awesome friend, Michelle Salmons, author, which we're going to get to her book here in just a little bit. But Michelle, you and I could talk 15, 20 minutes, an hour on each one of these questions. You have 5 seconds with no explanations. You ready to rock? Let's level up.
Yes, I will do my best.
Do it. What is the best leveling up advice Michelle's ever received?
To let it go.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Meditation.
Beautiful. Other than your website, MichelleSalmons.com, that's 1L squad, MichelleSalmons.com. And of course, TimeToShineToday.com, my shameless plug. What website does Michelle like to go to level up?
Abraham Hicks.
Okay, beautiful. I always say Google, but Abraham Hicks is a great site. Beautiful. So if you see me in my doldrums and you're like, Fergie just isn't looking right, his energy's off, other than the Little Book of Big Knowing, and what book would you hand me?
My new book, The Intuitive Companion.
Listen to this. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. All right. So what is Michelle's most commonly used emoji?
Say it again. What is Michelle's what?
Most commonly used emoji.
Oh, the wink.
Wink. Love it. What was your New Year's resolution?
I don't make them.
Beautiful. Chess or checkers?
Checkers.
Gotcha. And don't lie to me on this one. But if you could be one age physically for the rest of your life, keep the knowledge you've garnered and continue to gain wisdom, what age physically would you stay for the rest of your life?
35.
Beautiful. I'm glad you put a 3 on it because I'm coming up on 50 next year or in February, actually. And I say 32 every single time. I would take that, getting out of bed, a little less creaks and cracks. And I would take that all day. Thank you for being honest on it. You've been honest and transparent this whole interview. You've been beautiful. What's your favorite charity and organization you like to give your time or money to?
Oh, that's a good one. There's a local women's shelter here.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. And the last question, you can elaborate a little bit on this one, Michelle, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh, 70s.
70s. All right. I love the 70s and 80s. It's my two decades. I was born in 72. So 70s, I was a little young, but I still remember. But the 80s, I kind of grew up in. So those 2 decades is beautiful. So how can we find you, Michelle?
Yeah, the best way to find me is on my website, MichelleSalmons.com. But I'm on all the social stuff, so Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, those things too. And YouTube, I have lots of lovely free videos there that talk about things like this. They're short little snippets, 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes.
So it's a way to just kind of get a little dose of inspiration.
That's awesome. And Squad, all of that will be in the show notes. So let's talk about let's talk about the Intuitive Companion. That's our new one. That's one we're going to have a giveaway on. Okay. And Squad, what we're going to say is the first one that puts Intuition Rocks on any of the social comments, whether it's Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anyone that says Intuition Rocks will get a free book signed by my good friend, Michelle, which I will take care of all of that. She'll sign it and hopefully maybe take care of the postage. I can Venmo you the money for the postage. But let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I'll show it to you too. So
yes,
the companion right
Can't
here.
wait to get my copy.
Yeah, I'm going to send you one for sure. Right. So what it does is it helps people tune into their own intuition. So it's not a how-to book. It's an answer book. It's because we all are intuitive. We all are guided. We're all tended to and supported. And so what happens is when you get rid of all the noise and the clutter that's going on in your physical world, and you really kind of tune into your inner world, guidance will bubble up. And this is kind of an easy primer for people to tap into that in a super user-friendly way.
Love that. I love it. So what was writing this book? It looks pretty thick. How many pages is that?
Oh, like 368-ish.
Did you just throw up all over your keyboard and it came out? Is that how it worked? I mean, because that's a lot.
Yeah, so what happens is it's kind of for me, it happens in spurts.
Okay.
So
Me too.
the energy will kind of rise up with inspiration, and I'll write as fast as I can. The same thing happened with the Little Book of Big Knowing.
Yeah.
And then it will fall off. That energy will kind of fall off. And then it's my job then to wait patiently for it to bubble back up.
I love it.
Right again.
And you don't force it. That's beautiful. I love that. I love it. And Michelle, do me one last solid favor and leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Well, mostly what I want your listeners to know is that they are of value, that they are here for a reason, that they came for a reason, that it's important that they're here, and to thank them for being who they are, for their own journey, for doing their own work, for living their own life. It all matters. And it matters not only to your family and to your community, but to the all that is. Without them, we would have a missing link.
Yes, we would. Yeah, we would. In Squad, we found ourselves a missing link here with my really good friend, Michelle. She uses the senses and refined skills to read your energy signatures. And that's something that not many people can have. I don't even have it with my clients, but I will want to keep leveling up that part. But Michelle has mastered it in her own sense that helps her clients level up. You know, she wants you to go deeper into deeper meanings, and she will help get you there. You know, she's a great coach that listens with all the senses, not just her ears. She listens with her eyes, her feel, in her intuition, that nudge that she has, that hunch that she has to help you level up your intuition and get you there. She'll remind you, especially if you're younger out there, you don't need a firm plan. You want to be planning, but it doesn't have to be firm, and just enjoy those zigzags along the way. Remember, like we say at Time to Shine today, inch by inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. But during those inches, enjoy the journey. You don't want to, like we say, we've said it before, you don't want to stand with a leg in the future, a leg in the past, and pee in the present. You want to enjoy this present, because right now is tomorrow's memory. And we want them to be leveled up. You know, she was going to be someone that contributed to the world. She wants you to remember it's okay to shine your own light, and most importantly, be authentic. You know, she is enjoying her entire journey, and that's what she wants you to do as a life well lived. And remember, you're here for a reason, and that you are important, and Michelle will make you feel that way. And that's how our credo, our motto, our mission statement at Time to Shine today is we don't want to have anyone to feel like they have no one. And Michelle is someone that we want to introduce to you. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's earned her letter here at the Varsity Squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on. I love your guts, and I can't wait to collaborate with you in the future, Michelle.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a joy.
Yay. Talk soon.